So I'm going to work on the next step of building up my additive synthesizer. I'm working just with one oscillator, but I have selectable oscillators types, and I have my note input, which is converting my note to frequency, and my key velocity to amplitude that can trigger an ADSR envelope. So the next thing I'm going to do is be able to add in some pitch modulation. I'm going to start with pitch bend. So it's unlock, and there's a bend in object, just like note in and control in, bend in. It is programmed to give MIDI, standard MIDI values, 7-bit MIDI from 0 to 127. So I'm going to find my pitch bend wheel all the way up, all the way down. In the middle is 64. Now it's a little bit of a problem. I'm going to hook up a scale object and show you. If I scale 0 to 127 onto, say, a pitch bend range of -1 semitone to +1 semitone, and take a floating point output, now you'll see a little bit of a problem. All the way up is 1, all the way down is -1, but in the middle it's 0.008, not 0. Because in fact 63.5 would be 0. On a scale of 0 to 127, that would be the exact middle. So I have to do a little bit of mucking around to get this to work so that when I release it, it goes back to 0. So we're going to bend, and then we're going to select 64. Things that are not 64, higher or lower, are going to get scaled. But if it is 64, remember that sends out a bang, and that's going to bang a message of 0, and that'll replace whatever value is here that has been scaled. So now, if I go all the way up, it's I haven't connected it there. Now if I go all the way up, it's 1, all the way down, it's -1. But if I let go and it goes back to 64, it's 0, because it banks the 0, replaces my message. Now I can do this. I can control the range of my pitch bend. That's something I usually want to do. So we'll default to 1, but have a number, and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of put it up here. And this becomes my multiplier, my pitch bend range. Defaults to 1 because that's what's there. Now, that will come out, and right now it's a control rate signal, but let's convert it to number tilde, and control click on the tilde and it becomes a converter. So this takes a non-audio rate signal and converts it to an audio rate signal. It's the same as if what I did before in my note input if I use SIG. All right. I'm just going to put in a ramp time in milliseconds. Let's say 5 milliseconds for a little bit of smoothing. And then I'm going to send tilde bend. Now, send tilde is the same as SNR, which are short for send and receive for control rate signals, but a send with a tilde and a receive with a tilde will send audio rate signals. Has to be typed out. There's no abbreviation of S tilde and R tilde. It has to be send tilde. and receive tilde. Now, where do I want this to go? Well, my note input is over here. Let's open this up again. And my MIDI value here has been converted to a signal. I'm going to break this. What I need is to add at audio rate my MIDI note number and my pitch bend. So it doesn't matter what the argument is because it's going to be signals from both. So my keyboard pitch comes in here, and then receive tilde, bend is going to be the argument. Now that's going to come out. And what this allows for and we can even monitor this. Let's put in a couple of number tilde objects, and we're just going to use them as audio monitors. So that was the last note I played, and I'm going to play it again. And so you're seeing the 61, and you're seeing that converted to frequency. Now I have to turn a little bit as I'm doing this. I'll do some pitch bend while I play. And all right, I'm going to put this in the wrong place. What you really want to see is the result of the addition. So this is my MIDI bend. And then I can change back in the main part of the patch, the playback range, or pitch bend range, let's say a major third. Right, or even more, like 2 octaves up and down. Although the resolution isn't so good with that wide of a range. Let's just go back to 2. All right, so that gives me pitch bend, and that's sending that into my subpatcher. Bring it back in, where it gets added to the MIDI note at the audio rate because it's constantly changing, or could constantly change, and then that gets converted to frequency. So let's close this for now. And so that's kind of my working. I'm going to save this and update it to 2. Now let's add, let's say a pitch envelope. Now, what have I got? I got velocities coming out of here. Let's do my pitch envelope with a function. And function, remember, it's a graphic breakpoint function editor. I'll put that in here. It can be kind of bigger. We can do some things. We can make grid lines. I think we have to show the grid lines. I have to find display the grid, horizontal, that's not what I want, vertical grid lines, which gives me some little reference points. We need to set the range. So I'm going to do this just like pitch bend. The range is between -1 and 1. The natural range of this is from 0 to 1, low and high display range. So change that. and it has a domain value of 1 second. Probably is enough. We could maybe do that a little bit more for it, but let's just for now leave it at 1000 milliseconds. This works. We can now start editing this. We just have to do a few things. So the output is going to be all points in line format. Let's go down here, get back out of here. So that needs to hook up to a line. Then that's going to go to my range, my scaling range. So it's just like this, where I need to have my pitch bend range and some scaling factor. Although in this case, it's going to be audio rate because the output of line is audio. So it's going to be multiplication tilde. And it can be one to start. All right, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to do the same thing here. My pitch bend range is going to sit right over here. Make that default to 1. And now that's been set to the multiplication. Then I need to convert this again. I'm going to do just copy over here. And it's going to send it also to bend. Which is fine. I don't need to do more. Actually, I'm going to bring this down. Copy this. That's my converter. Although I don't need to actually do that. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong stuff. Don't need to do that. Let's delete that. This outputs the pitch bend range that I need. I'm going to send that over here to bend. Now I need to be able to trigger the function. So I'm going to get my velocity, and I can do the same thing that I did inside the node input. I can look for 1 to 127, anything that's non-zero to bang. So let's split 1 to 127. So anything coming out the left can just simply, any non-zero velocity can simply start. Okay. Then any zero, which would be my release, can send the next message. Which means that if I have a sustain point, and I need to have a sustain point in my pitch envelope for this to work, that will advance it to the final stage. I'm using the function because ADSR is unipolar. It only goes one direction from 0, and I want pitch to be able to go in both directions. This should work. And actually, this should be enough if I run my velocity into here. Now, it's not triggering my envelope. So what I think I need actually is clean velocity. I'm going to go back to my node input. And I just need one more outlet because I want my unconverted velocity. You see wasn't making it. I was scaled value that was between 0 and 1, so it was never getting to 1 to come through. So let's go around here. I can Shift Command Y and clean that up a little bit. Now take this third outlet. And I should at least see it bang now. Okay, so my note, I don't have anything going on. It's adding whatever pitch envelope to whatever pitch bend I have, because when I put two audio signals together into a single inlet, they get added at a sample by sample process. So let's draw on my pitch envelope. Lock the patch. You can see my scale at X. I can go up here to Y is around 0. It's a little bit, not quite. Hold down the shift key, doesn't get any better. Hold down the control key. So I actually want to make this just a little bit bigger so I get a little bit finer resolution. And maybe that'll help. That's all right. So let's have it start up, maybe full value to 1. And it comes down to about 0. I'm going to command click for my sustain. So that's now a sustaining point. And then I just need one more. Let's have it over, say, about 500. It's going to gliss down. So now I should get you can hear the release. Let's make that a little longer. Make this a little bit bigger. Make that a little. There we go, maybe half a second. You can really hear it. Do it faster. And I can still use pitch bend because they get added in together. So I got a pitch envelope now. Triggers, and then next says to advance past the sustaining point because it's going to stay here until it gets the next message. So I have to have that. And let's see, can I add in a little random fluctuation? I'm going to put that here. Going to unlock and use this already. Random gives me a signal between -1 and 1 at specified frequency. I can specify that frequency. Same thing here. I'm going to use scaling. So copy all 3 things, or just select them and drag them. Kind of running out of room on my screen. And the output of this is going to go to add it in to here. Let's bring that into here. And it's going to have a range of ±1 semitone. It's going to do it at, say, maybe every half second. I'll get a new number. And if I hold down a note, let's give it a wider range. Still can add in the pitch bend. So if I want to turn it off, I zero out the range. And now it's just pitch envelope and whatever pitch bend I do. So that gives me some pitch control. why not, it's a little bit of a long video, but why not I go ahead and encapsulate this stuff. So unlock, and all of this would be into a patcher called pitch modulation. It has no output because it actually sends back into the node input, right? Everything comes out to a send. Send is sending it back in here, but just so that it comes out on this path. That's not recursive. And I can do open it up because none of the values stayed in terms of my range. I think I was doing it was this one that I was doing. Maybe leave that a whole step. It's my pitch envelope that needs more range. Then I would want to save envelopes with a preset, but I'm not going to put that in right now. Close it. And it makes it work. So I've got an oscillator and I've got pitch modulation. Now I'm going to stop there.